Welcome to a bonus podcast episode of the Savvy Shopkeeper Retail Podcast. I'm your host, Kathy Cruz. I feel like I haven't recorded a podcast episode in so long, and I don't know if you literally just heard me clap my hands when I announced that. I'm just happy to be back. So I was going to take a week off from the podcast, and I decided that I just have quite a few things to share, and I also realized that there's something to celebrate today. So I'm hopping in here to record hopefully what'll be maybe a 10 or 15 minute episode, and we'll get back into regular podcasting next week. So the first thing that I want to talk about is the Shopkeeper Story series that we just published. I hope you all enjoyed the series. They were all interviews from members of the Shopkeepers Lab, and I feel like each story was so different, yet each of them provided some really helpful information, and they really shared their stories and their journeys and why they run their businesses or how they run their businesses. And I applaud them for having the courage to get interviewed. I know sometimes that can be nerve-wracking and can cause a little bit of anxiety, but they all nailed it. It was great, and I hope you all really enjoyed it. The next thing that I want to talk about is to catch you up on my fitness journey. It's funny because some of our group members will talk about this, or my one-on-one clients who also listen to the podcast will have quick conversations about this. So I know some of you are paying attention. Some of you may not care. I get it. But I think self-care is really important. We're talking about this a lot more in Master Shopkeepers. So I just kind of want to catch you up. So what happened was that my Fitbit died right before the retreat. And maybe it was a blessing because going into the retreat, I was telling myself that I was going to somehow get up and get on the treadmill or go walking somewhere in Greenville, Michigan to get my 10,000 steps. And it was probably a blessing that that didn't happen. And the pressure of hitting those 10,000 steps went away. And I'm glad that that happened because I needed to give myself a little bit of grace. And then the other thing too is hosting an event like that, it's a really big effort. And of course, being my first time, it felt like even more of an effort. And when I got back, literally about a week later, after I was riding the high of the whole event, which I'll talk about in a little bit, I think everything crashed. Like me physically, my brain crashed. Like it just didn't want to do any kind of work. I just needed a break. And I shouldn't be surprised by this because I am a bit of a worker bee and I'll go until it hits me. And that's what happened. So I have given myself some grace, but I also decided to reward myself. Most of us do not reward ourselves and we don't celebrate things. And I'm trying to make changes there too. So I decided to reward myself and I ordered myself an Apple Watch. So my plan is to get back on track. I think I'm going to get my Apple Watch in about less than 1 week. And I'm excited to get that thing on and to start tackling my fitness again. I'm also really glad that I just decided to give myself a break, and I think that's okay sometimes too. So I'll be the first to admit, although I don't think my husband listens to this podcast, I'll be the first to admit that my husband won the challenge. I say this grinding my teeth a little bit, but I had to throw in the towel. 'Tis life sometimes, right? It is time to get back on the horse again. That's the expression, right? I can be really bad with expressions sometimes. But I'm happy to say that I am looking forward to going for my regular walks again. I'm actually going to do that today, even without the Apple Watch. I don't necessarily need something to track it. What I need to do is just sometimes get outside, breathe the fresh air, and get a little sweat going on. Okay, so the next thing that I want to talk about, of course, is the 2021 retreat. Holy smokes, it was incredible. Incredible. I am dedicating next week's episode to some really special people that helped make the retreat so darn incredible, because it certainly wasn't just me. It wasn't just me planning and preparing and making it as beautiful as it was. I just can't I think obviously I still have a smile on my face when I talk about it. I love getting the reactions from people that attended. And I have so much to share. I just want you to know that it was amazing. And I also want you to know that I am 99% certain that it's coming back in 2022. It is going to happen. And I want you to know that because so many of you told me you were bummed you couldn't make it, or you were bummed you didn't grab a ticket, or you can't wait until next year. So I want you to all know it's coming back. I also want you to all start saving for it. I completely understand that it's an investment, but please know that that's an investment that I think you'll have really fond memories from, and that you'll appreciate, and that you'll learn from, and that you'll love. I firmly believe that. So start saving, start preparing, start clearing your calendar. I will share more details. Yes, most likely it will be at the end of August or at the beginning of September, again, next year. I also completely understand that I can't always accommodate everyone's schedules, but I do want you to know that it is coming back, and I'm so extremely excited about it because 2021 was just fantastic. The next thing that I want to talk about is we're celebrating this month. It's the 2-year Podcastversary. I don't know if I made that word up. But it's the anniversary, and I guess I was so busy planning the retreat that I didn't realize that we were coming up on 2 years. So this month, September of 2021, is the 2-year anniversary of the Savvy Shopkeeper Retail Podcast. I can't believe it, but I can honestly say it's one of the best decisions I ever made to connect with all of you. I've been able to help and get into your AirPods or your earbuds or in your cars. I've been able to connect with so many of you because of the podcast. I feel like the podcast was a realistic way for me to connect with you so that you could hear my voice, you could hear my own struggles as a shopkeeper, you could hear my passion for shopkeeping, and that you just know it's a real human being behind this brand. I mean, there's of course, the Savvy Shopkeeper website and the Shopkeepers Academy, and you could see pictures there, but there's something to be said for being able to hear someone's voice and hopefully the authenticity in my voice too. And I just want to say thank you for the past 2 years. Thank you for allowing me to take 20 to 30 minutes of your time each week. I have learned not to take this for granted. If you've listened since episode 1, thank you. Maybe you found me a year later and went all the way back to episode 1 and binged from there. So many of you tell me you do this. Thank you too. Or if you're new here and just started listening, thank you. And this one is important. If you've left a rating and or a review, thank you so much. It really helps for other people to learn about the podcast when you do that. Your reviews are truly appreciated and they mean a ton to me. If you're wondering how to do this, you can do this on the Apple Podcast app. Unfortunately, it's like the only place you can do this. Maybe you can do it on other apps. But you'll click on the shows button and then you'll go to the Savvy Shopkeeper Retail Podcast. You scroll down a little bit and you'll see an area where you can leave a rating and a review. But it really does make a difference, and it makes a difference to me because I can see when you leave them, and I like reading all of the feedback, and I like to know, which episodes really resonate with you, what content is most helpful to you, just knowing in general that you appreciate it or that it's different than anything else that's out there. That means a lot to me too. So the next thing that I want to talk about, see, I told you there was a lot, is master shopkeepers. Many of you are already familiar with this, but in case you don't, this is a territory-protected mastermind group for brick and mortar store owners that I run. And it only opens to new members and applications 3 times per year. And I do that because I offer a ton in that group, and the onboarding process and getting new members situated and comfortable and making sure that I take care of them and that they're getting as much out of it as possible it can be time consuming. So that's the reason I only open it 3 times a year. So I want you to know that if you've been waiting to apply to join, and I know quite a few of you have, you'll be happy to hear that applications open up next week. So today, I have to look at my phone. Today is September 29th, 2021. It is going to open up next week. So early October, it's opening. If you aren't on my wait list for that, I recommend getting it on it. And I'll tell you why is because the people on the wait list get to apply 2 days early. So you'll go to shopkeepersacademy.com and you'll go to Master Shopkeepers and sign up for the wait list there. So hopefully you'll listen to this over the next few days and you'll be able to get on the wait list if you're interested. And the reason opening that up a couple days early is important is because it is territory protected. So you want to make sure that you apply first before someone else does, so you can get in. And this is the last time in 2021 that the group will open to new members. It won't open again until February of 2022. So again, if you want to learn more about this, you can go to shopkeepersacademy.com. Or you can sign up for my newsletter at savvyshopkeeper.com so you find out when it launches. And then the last thing, actually, no, it's not the last thing. I still have a couple other things I want to talk about. The next thing I want to talk about is Tundra. So Tundra announced recently that they received $26 million in funding from investors so that they can continue to grow their business. And it's an online wholesale platform, if you're not familiar with Tundra. I've talked about Tundra on this episode. Actually, I've talked about Tundra on many episodes, I should say. And I even wrote a blog post about the difference between Tundra and Fair. If you Google that, you'll find the blog post. The main difference, I guess I can say, is that Tundra doesn't take fees or commission from their makers and suppliers. And this is a big deal to me because I want shopkeepers to protect their profit margins as much as possible. Anyhow, to celebrate that they received this funding, because obviously that's a really big deal, Tundra is offering a special promotion in the month of October 2021. If you spend up to $150 with one brand, you'll qualify to get up to $150 in free merchandise with a new brand that you order from. So a couple of things. Even if you're new to Tundra and all the brands are new to you, you can still qualify for this deal. I think it's just order from one brand and get up to that amount, up to $150 in free merchandise from the other brand. A couple of important things is if you haven't already created an account, you can create one. I'll give you info on that next. And then the big kicker is this runs all through the month of October 2021. And as far as I'm aware, this is unlimited. So it's not just one $150 order that you can place. You can place multiple and get the equal amount free. Now, I'm still getting all the details from the Tundra team, so I'm trying to share accurate information. This is all really new, but please use Tundra support. I think they have a chat function on their website if you have questions about any of this. I just want to make sure that I mention this deal because this could be really, really helpful to any of the buyers in our community, and many of us or most of us are buyers leading up to Q4. If you're a Lab or Master Shopkeepers member, there are quite a few conversations going on in both groups about the promotion. So you can head over to the groups and get in on the conversations and ask any questions there. If you don't have a Tundra account and you want to create one, it's very simple. I think you just have to enter your basic retailer information like your EIN, your resale number, but you can do this signing up for a free account with Tundra. You can do that at savvyshopkeeper.com/Tundra. And that's where you'll find my referral link. I would appreciate it if you learn about Tundra using my referral link. But again, you don't have to. You can just go to tundra.com to sign up. So I'm trying to think as I'm quickly covering all of this, am I forgetting anything? But I highly recommend if you're a buyer and you need some holiday gift or holiday merchandise, this might be a really good opportunity for you to get some, free credit for shopping, for buying. Okay, and then the last thing that I want to talk about, because it's the 2-year anniversary of the podcast, I wanted to explain why I say boss up. And I'm not sure I ever explained that on this podcast. So if you've been listening for a while, or even if you started recently listening, you'll notice at the end of every episode, I say be savvy and boss up. And this is what happened in August of 2019, just before I launched this podcast. April, the owner of Fruchthaven Farm, she's the owner of the farm where I hosted the most recent Savvy Shopkeeper retreat. She posted a question in Master Shopkeepers group. And I commented on her post. It had to do with hiring. I commented on her post and I said, I think it's a wise decision to hire people who can do things better than us. With everything you have going on, you probably need someone who can run your business well. At the time, April didn't have Fruchthaven. We were referring to her boutique Pink and Frillos. And then I continue to say, you continue to be the face of the business and the visionary, and you really aren't losing control. You're being boss. And I put boss in all capital letters. And then I said, you can do this with an exclamation point. And April responded and she said, thank you. Okay. And then she was referring to herself, boss up, April. And I must have had an aha moment at that time that not only is being savvy, and the word savvy means to be shrewd and knowledgeable, having common sense and good judgment. So for me, not only being savvy is important when running a business, but equally important, we have to have the courage to do things that make us uncomfortable as shopkeepers. And we do that all the time, right? Bossing up is what really takes us to the next level every time. So if we fast forward 2 years later now, and April is one of the biggest bosses I know. April was the surprise interview at the VIP dinner event at this year's retreat. And of course, I think I've said this before, I've interviewed April on this podcast. April is charming, funny, and a true visionary. So the fact that I used that word 2 years ago, it shouldn't surprise me, but it totally applies to April. Everyone was so captivated by her story when I interviewed her, and the courage it took for her and her husband to build Fruchthaven Farm. It really is an incredible place. And then to see where they took it to where it is now, it's amazing. So I feel like all of this has come full circle. I can't even talk. Her post in the group, my response to her comment, the podcast in general, and my sign off. What a 2 years it's been. Did I say that right? God, it's crazy. I'm still, I think, riding a high from the retreat, and I wouldn't change anything because in the end, I also had to get my big girl pants on. I had to find the courage to hit record every week, to create this podcast, to invest in that retreat, my first time, the inaugural retreat, and especially during a pandemic, which I genuinely thought wouldn't play a role. And I'm just so grateful that we were able to move forward with it. And to go all in on me, because there was a time I felt like maybe I wasn't enough for all of you. But I called BS on that thought, and look at where we are now. I bossed up. I want you to call BS on your thoughts too. The thoughts that have you afraid, the thoughts that keep you from taking the action you want to take, the thoughts that have you suppressing and pushing your dreams down to the pit of your stomach where it just kind of sits there and you just like anxious and dying for all of it just to come out. Whenever it gets hard, whenever you need a nudge, whenever you feel afraid, whenever you want to knock those programmed or negative thoughts out of your brain, I hope you hear my voice. Be savvy and boss up.